What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a legendary day. Went to practice today, as you see by the wristband. So we're gonna go ahead and go over that. We have a little bit of announcements to make just because we didn't make them on the show, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows about them. And then I just went ahead, and that's why actually we're a few minutes late. I was going over my halfway through camp, whatever you want to call it, 53-man roster prediction. Jason might be joining me soon. We're going to figure that out right now. But before we get started with today's show, we, of course, have to remind everybody to listen to the end of the show to get your special coupon code to save 10% off of all For the Faithful, by the Faithful Season 2 apparel, exclusively available at NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop. Help out Niner Faithful Radio by using our affiliate a link at shop49ers.com and save 10%. All you have to do is click on the link in the description of the podcast or video and save 10%. Go to SeatGiant.com, use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. And of course, go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, and follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and at Niner Faithful R on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, faithful of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
What's good, Roberto? What's cracking? Thanks for joining us. And of course, we got Jason in the green room. He pops up right when I was
What up?
Everybody, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, legendary as always.
Barely made it, but I'm here.
Yeah, hey, look, I was a few minutes late. I actually kind of later on, I'm just gonna get your initial thoughts on it. You know, it wasn't necessarily something that I planned to do today, but I was kind of trying to figure out, like, okay, if you didn't get on, what was I gonna do? You know, so that's why I'm a few minutes late myself. I was trying to wrap up. I found a way.
When are you ever on time?
Pretty much never. But hey, there's been times we've been on time. We've been on time a lot more. But also always fashionably late, baby. But and I found a way. I'll give y'all a hint and the reason to stay tuned to the end of the show. I did find a way to get 12 D linemen on to the roster. So that's
what's up, Berto?
But yeah, what's cracking? So just real quick. This happened last week. I know everybody knows about it, but want to dot our I's and cross our T's. Jordan Matthews was placed on IR. That sucks. I was at least trying to see, at least give the man a chance to fight till the end, or at least to a cut down date. It always sucks that
he might be done.
I think he is.
Like, I mean, for real, he might just retire unless someone takes a flyer and they get desperate.
Fine, okay, injuries, everything like that, but personally, I hope the Niners backup plan, if somebody, knock on wood, goes down, isn't Jordan Matthews. That's all I'm gonna leave it at.
Somebody for next year?
Well, next year, fine. I'm all for bringing people in to camp. When you say, like, I understand you have to bring people in that you think have a chance to make the roster, but I just don't. If you're talking about a fourth, fifth tight end on a 90-man roster, that probably not going to make this roster next year. I'm okay with it being Jordan Matthews. I can't think of anybody else. If anybody else wants to leave in the comments, anybody you'd rather see be a fifth tight end next camp for a 90-man, and have a chance to make a 90-man roster, go ahead and drop it in the comments. But I can't think of
I
anybody.
like Matthews, though. I really did. I thought him switching over to tight end was a hell of an idea, but it just hasn't worked out quite yet.
I think, like we said, either last week or the week before, just a year too late or a couple of years too late.
Yeah, I think that's what it ends up being.
Waived wide receiver Taysir Mack. Okay. And signed Jordan Mills and Willie Snead.
Willie Snead is interesting, man. That dude's got some burners on him.
I think, sure. I mean, bring him in and he has a chance. But I think that's maybe to take off some strain off of Danny Gray.
Has he been okay? I've heard he's actually been doing really good in practice. So
yeah,
training with a beast. You know what I mean? So if he's doing good, what are they looking for to release off of Danny Gray?
I mean, if I don't know. I mean, I don't see it somebody there being an issue. I just see it being a camp body, and hey, you bring somebody in and you never know. So I want to say this before, and this will be my little one rant of the show and everything. I promise to keep it short, but they need to do something about these practices because they did have it on the opposite field and they allowed people to walk over and be, I guess, on the sideline, from a distance and watch practice. But it's like, of course, everybody and their mama is going to go over there. Really, truthfully, what I was hoping happened is because the best seats and where Jordan, Splash Cousins, Brad Graham, all them sit is really at the top of the bleachers because that's probably where you're going to get the best view. But those are probably the first seats to go up. Most people are going to try to sit in the bottom and sit along the rope because those are probably going to be your best spots for autographs. But I'm not there to get autographs. I'm there to cover practice. Truthfully, anybody that
did you go today?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
I wasn't there the whole. I will admit I wasn't there the whole practice because probably about half an hour before practice was over, I couldn't see anything. I wasn't going to get a better seat because that's why I was staying. I was hoping when they opened the opposite end of the end zone, or when they basically made it where people could stand along and see practice, I was hoping people would move from the top, and so I would just swoop one of those seats. I actually had a really good spot for autographs. I was like probably second row from the front where the little roped off section is. But once they moved so I was going to stay there and be like, all right, cool. But once they moved to the opposite field, I was like, well, there's no point in even being here because I'm not going to kill myself for autographs. I have things I have to get back to do a show. I have things I have to do. So I'm not going to kill myself for autographs. I got Kittle Corn. Fred Warner actually be nice. I got Nick Bosa on a football, so I'm okay. But the one thing,
not bad for autographs.
No. I believe Jason Verrett's on it too. I want to say it's Nick Bosa, Jason Verrett, and somebody else.
It's not bad.
I don't think it's Debo, but no, I went in last year at camp, so. It wasn't like I personally got it signed, but
it was. I thought it wasn't the ones you got today. Then is what I was thinking.
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I haven't tried to get autographs at all this year, just because I know Huff. Actually, I ain't gonna lie, Huff would be nice to get, and I know he stays a while after practice, but I think Jimmy Ward only goes to the VIP section. Fred Warner comes out, I think, once or twice. It's not like back in the day. So, but I leave those to little kids. Let little kids get their autographs. This is their version of, BY. Nick Bosa is their version of BY.
Yeah.
And that's what I would want to do if I was a kid. Let's hope I don't kill myself over a lot of things like that. But anyway, one of the cool little notes that I saw from practice is Eric Armstead was conditioning on the side today. along with Emmanuel Mosley, and we'll get to Emmanuel Mosley here in a second. But who missed the second day of practice? He was conditioning. I thought it was him. I wasn't 100% sure, but Grant Cohn said he was conditioning on the side, and I only saw 2 players. One was clearly Eric Armstead because there's only so many people on the team that are that tall.
He
And he turned
sticks
around
out in
and
the crowd.
Yeah, and he turned around and I saw his face, and I was like, oh, okay. Like he was wearing a hoodie up, but you could just tell.
I haven't heard anything about him being anything nagging or anything.
No, it was his knee. I know it was a knee strain, but if he's jogging, he's clearly not going to play the preseason. I would doubt. Shanahan came out to say today in his press conference and said, basically the starters. He didn't name anybody, but specifically he talked about Trey was going to be game 1 and 3. He was going to try to get in a little bit.
Probably a series, maybe a quarter, if that. I doubt a quarter.
I think what happens. Hold on, I gotta cancel this. Okay, let's move the mouse. Anyway, I ultimately think what happens, because I'm gonna be there Friday, is I think we see Trey for a series, and if it's like 3 and out, then maybe you see him for 2. But if you can get in a good series, maybe 80 yards, obviously ideal, 80 yards and get into the end zone.
Oh yeah, if they can like 1 first series,
7 plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you figure the third and then Shanahan broke it down and he said, okay, so I'm way more. He clearly made it clear that he's way more interested in the scrimmage next week against the Vikings than anything to do with the game.
I think most coaches would be.
Mm-hmm. Shanahan even came out and said it, made it as far as to say that he would prefer that over preseason. He was like, look, I would rather just have three weeks of scrimmages and then let's get cracking with the season.
Yeah. Or pick a new team every year.
Honestly, truthfully, I'd be okay with that. Because they're obviously, I know for a fact the Vikings are opening up the practices to fans next week. I know the Chargers did it when we went down there. So very you could do it very easily. Very easily. You could choose the Chargers because we obviously play them every preseason. Since I've been alive, or at least since I've been a little kid, we play the Chargers every preseason. You could play the Chargers. You could go to Vegas. And then I don't know, maybe you throw in Denver or something because we have a good relationship with the Broncos. And that's just your
Well, I was going to do like what we did for my high school, the 1 year I played up here. They had, I don't know if I had never heard of it before. They had what's called a jamboree.
Mm-hmm.
And, you had the linemen go down and just do, lineman drills like you were doing practice, but you do them against other teams. And it was basically then you would do like a 7-on-7 for the backs and receivers and all that kind of stuff. And then I think you ended up playing like 1 quarter of football against the team, and that was it. You were done and out. And to me, that was so much fun because, after 2 days for 2 weeks beating up the same people and your teammates, just like how these guys feel, you want to beat up somebody else,
Yeah, and it's perfect.
I'd pay to watch that.
Because coaches, I'm telling you, what also, sorry, asterisk, I'll get in my second round on the show, but this one will be quick. Whoever is in charge of sales, merchandise, whatever the Niners, you missed out on money. Because I went into the team store Sunday with the intention of buying a Dwight Clark t-shirt. Obviously I had my I thought it was behind me, but it's too far behind me. Oh wait. Hold on. Okay. I had my Dwight Clark Day shirt. He jumped in the air, a man, he came down, our hero, Dwight. But I came in there to buy one of the D'Amico Ryans had a real cool one that said The Catch, and then it had like the logo and stuff on it, and it said like DC Day and stuff, I believe. But like just some of those ones, and me, my girlfriend and I went in the team store with the intention of going to buy the t-shirt. And mind you, yeah, we still ended up spending money because we went to the museum. Pictures of that will be coming up soon. There's actually some really cool stuff in there. It was really cool that they have obviously the football from The Catch, and then they have the spot where Dwight landed And they took that out last game at Candlestick.
I told my boy I'm dragging when we come down there for the game. I was like, "Look, I know you're a Finns fan, but I'm dragging you to this museum."
Oh yeah.
So, for sure. He's like, "Do I gotta go?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, you gotta go."
I mean, if I'm not, don't quote me on this, but I'm not mistaken, you can even do it like Saturdays or Friday.
I'm kind of hoping we do because we're coming down Friday, so I'm really hoping to get it in on like Saturday.
Yeah, but because I believe now it's open just weekends, and then I believe it's open weekends and game day for. I forget the whole schedule. They changed it since COVID. It used to be open all the time. You just go willy nilly. So
Yeah.
I will find that. I will find that out for you, bro, and we'll get you into.
We'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, we'll get you into.
Sorry,
the
crazy day.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. There was no Dwight Clark Day merchandise, and I'm just like, seriously, not even the simple basic. All the coaches have them Dwight Clark shirt.
They'd
with the
sell it like crazy. They should have had some.
Yeah, apparently somebody that worked there said they were giving them away. I didn't see it. I left because they sold way too many tickets. It was way too overpacked, and everywhere. That's why I cut the video the way I did. I don't know if you saw the live video I did on Sunday, but that's why I cut it the way I did. Is because everybody and their mother kept on telling me to move, and I was like, I can't make a video. Like, if you keep on telling me to move, I can't make a video of the because I had a great. What it was is I had a great spot, and I left to go say hi, Mama Debbie. Is what it was. Those pictures I took of Brunskill and all that I sent you.
Mm.
That was at that spot, and then I saw Mama Debbie, and she had this pin for me. I got this pin. It says "Forever Faithful, Top Hat Debbie." So
that's a pimp. That's a pimp. That's a pimp and pin.
Yeah. So she specifically, she had him for a bunch of people, but she messaged me when she's like, "Hey, come see me Sunday. I have something for you." And so
I think that pin.
Yeah, so and then I was like, oh, well, I left the spot, whatever. But they were just bouncing me around so much, I ended up leaving. And I was like, you know what, whatever. I can't even see anything anyway. And that's when my girl went to because I asked him, I was like, hey, can I take a picture by the Ketch statue? In honor of DC Day. And the lady was like, yeah. The team store's open. You can go ahead. You can go anywhere. You just can't go up in the stadium. I was like, all right, cool. So we went, took pictures at the statue, went to the team store. And my girl, they didn't have any Dwight Clark merchandise. So my girl was like, you want to go to the museum? And we saw the museum was open. So she's like, you want to go to the museum or a pair of Niner socks? I was like, hell yeah, let's go to the museum. So we went and I took pictures of all the Hall of Fame statues. And so all that will be coming up on Niner Faithful Radio's Instagram. Make sure you follow it at Niner Faithful Radio and our Facebook page. I'll put them up on both. But anyway, so Eric Armstead was warming up on the side. So I think that's encouraging. I don't. Maybe the third preseason game. It sounds like that's what Shanahan's going to treat like most like the regular.
For
season.
him, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even test it.
That's why I said I maybe, but I doubt it. I think that he'll probably be because and there's 17 days. So Shanahan's saying, "Hey, I'm getting more out of practice anyway. I'm cool with shutting down Eric Armstead and saying, hey, we got you 17 days to get you ready for the preseason or for the regular season." How Spencer Burford, I've been really surprised about him.
He's been getting huge props from quite a few people I've been following.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any issue, and it's funny because you and I have said for a while our best offensive line is with Daniel Brunskill being the sixth man.
Yeah.
That's the best version of the Niners offensive line we can have. You and I had him pretty much penned in as starter at right guard.
I didn't foresee Buford. I mean, I thought Buford would be good, but I didn't think he would immediately be jumping into the starting.
I thought this was next year after type of pick. Aaron Banks doesn't work out. You slide Jalen Moore in, and that type of move. I didn't see that. Oh wow. And I haven't seen any reason. Everybody, Matt Mayoko, everybody I listen to or follow, same thing. They've said he's held his own in one-on-ones and everything like that. The one that's been most concerning that I've heard has been Aaron Banks. I've heard way more. I've heard not concerning, but I've heard way more negative things about him from certain people. So say what you
There's
say.
a lot of people that consider him a bust, so they're automatically going to, find nitpick him to where Buford being the rookie straight out of school, oh my God, he's such a good guy. But you know what I mean? It's easier when you have, Banks does have a soft label as being a bust already from last year. So people are going to start, you have an upstart basically in Buford. So they're going to nitpick one and praise the other more. So, I mean,
Well, yeah,
I
because
think
it's draft stock. That's all it is.
yeah.
It's because Aaron Banks was a second round pick, which I understand is a high draft pick.
Yeah.
It's a high draft pick, especially for Shanahan, who historically hasn't valued guards, especially knowing how valuable our picks were going to be the next couple of years because of what we traded to get Trey. So I think the way the Niners are looking at it is, look, fine, Aaron Banks is our weakest offensive line. Good to hear, bro. I'm rooting for Buford. Same here. He was on my boy CG Ruthless. He was on his show before the draft. I actually watched the interview and everything like that. And he said that if he got drafted, I wonder if he did it, because he said, I'm going to hold him to that too. If we ever get him on the show, I'm going to hold it to him. Like, bro, I'm going to watch a video of you jumping in a pool, because he said he'll jump in the pool if the Niners draft him or something like that. So I'm going to, and I remember he messaged me on draft day or he messaged me when he drafted him. He's like, bro, we got him. I was like, bro, that's so sick. When I heard the pick, I was like, what? That's so dope. My boy had him, like, and it's like, that's how you develop. That's how you see random people become friends with players, is now that there's that connection. So if he ever sees him, hey, Spencer, you remember me? I had you on the podcast before the draft. Oh, hey, what's up, bro? And he seems like a humble dude. Like, he wouldn't big time him, So, yeah, I'm definitely rooting for him. And I want the Niners to get a young guards and settle this position for years. We might
have it,
and I think we might have it, and young too. So if you tell me that Aaron Banks is going to be average, that's fine. What have we said the whole offseason, bruh? We've said the whole offseason he can be average because he's next to Trent Williams.
Yeah, Trent Williams elevate me and you next to him. He's that damn good.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about the left side of the offensive line. Is it the best left side that we had last year and the year before? No.
No, it's not without Lincoln there. No.
Not without Lincoln, but that's okay. If you tell me that Burford and Mike McGlinchey, who from everything I've heard and seen myself has been fine, he's been Mike McGlinchey.
I've heard he's still working his way back into shape.
If you love him, well, yeah, but I think Mike McGlinchey, you've seen enough to say Mike McGlinchey's Mike McGlinchey. You love him, you're going to continue to love him. You hate him, you're going to continue to hate him.
Yeah.
And I think the Niners better count their blessings to know that for the most part, he's been there. Obviously, last year in 2019, missing 3 games. And he's consistent. And I say it all the time on the show. Coaches will take a player that they know what they're going to get over a player with peaks and valleys.
Yeah, because you can scheme to what they're good. You know what I mean? To what that is.
Mm-hmm. My biggest fear next offseason is losing Jimmy Ward. And I have a feeling that's going to happen. My second biggest fear is losing Mike McGlinchey and not realizing
how good he is.
That biting in the ass when you finally realize, oh wow.
A lot of people dog
fine, you can get better
for stuff, but he's not as bad as people want to say. Yes, his pass blocking can be pretty bad at times, but look at how damn good he is in run block.
And what frustrates me the most is because I think what people have in their mind is that Shanahan wants to pass 1 million yards, and this is the way the NFL is. So the idea has always been Jimmy's what's held us back from being that, from being the Chiefs, from being, the Bills, whatever. And not forgetting at his core, okay, what is Kyle Shanahan's father, who clearly he takes after, clearly the reason he's a coach, all that. What is Mike Shanahan? He's a man who wants to run the football.
Look at the
What's Kyle
Broncos.
Shanahan? At his core, if you ask Kyle Shanahan how he wants to win, it's running the football.
Old school football. Well, no, it's kind of old school, but
Yeah.
the way he moves people around, it's definitely not old school.
It's old school with a new school twist.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. It's innovative. You know, that's why you're excited about it. So at his core, how has he built this team? We're in year 6 of Lynch and This is the final year of their original contract. They've had every opportunity to build this roster how they want. This is their roster. How have they built this roster, Jason? To play defense and run the football. So when you draft the
tackles,
and the
defensive
top
tackles,
10,
no damn reason.
You draft the top like Trent Williams. That's some fluke shit. You can't plan for that to happen.
He fell into their lap.
Yeah,
he really did.
Okay, so but the tackle we drafted, look at the players we drafted, right? Mike McGlinchey, elite run blocker on a team, with the coach that wants to run the football. That's
Aaron Banks was an elite run blocker at Notre Dame.
And my thing about it is bring Anthony Lynn, who runs more of a power game. Well, maybe all of a sudden that Aaron Banks pick doesn't look so bad.
No, I think with Anthony Lynn, like, you know, you see it in practice. There's a lot more emphasis on the backs catching the ball now.
Mm-hmm.
And look what he did with the early 2000s and all those guys with the Chargers and everything. Look what he did, yeah. So
which is
you've seen him put an emphasis.
One of the things that's been talked about is Anthony Lynn's work with young quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and building a system around a young quarterback. So I feel this is why overall, you know, my now last day in camp, tomorrow's the last open practice. I can feel my overall feelings of training camp is generally what I think that this football team is going to be what I think it is. Probably offensively, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
Especially at first.
You know, heavily run on the running game. And yeah, sure, not saying this is gonna happen, but there might be a blowout or two, or just whatever. Some fluke things happen, a couple turnovers. You know, we easily get up a couple scores. You know, some things might happen to skew some things, but what gets me hopeful is I think this defense is going to be damn good because Trey Lance apparently had pretty much people are calling it his best practice as a Niner today.
Yeah. Everybody's been raving about how good he looked.
Both Emmanuel Mosley and Travarius Ward missed practice today. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
Which is good, because what does that tell me? That when we play corners not at the level of Emmanuel Mosley and Travarius Ward, Trey had his best practice. Which tells me what? Not every team's going to be able to trot out Emmanuel Mosley and Travarius Ward. So that tells me that the struggle.
Who was playing linebacker today?
Fred was out there. Fred was out there.
Was it Fred?
Mm-hmm.
Because I heard they were switching some things out between who was starting and everything like that. Like they've been playing with it quite a bit.
I know. I saw Fred out there with both Azeez and Dre Greenlaw. And then Fred went out and or Azeez was middle linebacker.
Moved over.
And, so they were mixed matching. But I would say the majority of practice, like I said, this is what I saw, which mostly was warm up and walk through and shit like that. Because that's what they actually do on the side that we're at. It was Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. It was, we're about almost 30 minutes in. Yeah. Let me get into this. I want to see what you think about this, Jason. I pulled it up right now. So quarterbacks, I got Trey and Nate Sutfield. I think that I thought a chance that there was Brock Purdy. Not that Brock Purdy has been horrible or anything like that.
About the unofficial roster?
No,
Depth
I'm
chart?
just. This is my initial
Oh,
halfway through camp. What I think
oh,
53.
check this out then.
Oh yeah. I saw the 50. I saw the depth chart. I didn't have a
Okay.
chance. I was trying to compare it to see if I had anything crazy on there. Like, and I do think there are things you can glean from this, but I do think there are certain things like it wouldn't surprise me if they have somebody as the third whatever or fourth string whatever, just because simply
Yeah.
they don't want people to believe how high they believe in them. Because think about it, some of these
Well,
players
there's
are going
one
to be
guy
cut.
on there that's quite high that I didn't quite see. I don't know if you've seen it. It was
Here,
backing up Aaron Banks. Here, I give it to you.
Yeah, shit it to me. Let me see. Pull it up so I can see it. Oh, it's blurry. Let me see.
Oh, it's about as big as I can get it.
Yeah, no. I'll pull it up on my phone because I know you shared it to the Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'll just pull it up.
Well, they have Jason Poe backing up Aaron Banks, which I didn't think he was
Really?
going to be quite that high already. So I was like, all right, cool.
I've heard he's been running for the second team.
Yep. So
I don't have him making the initial. Here we go.
But I think that backs up what you were saying. They're probably going to put some people a little bit higher, and then maybe try and stash them a little bit.
Yeah, or something's going on. I wouldn't put this in stone, but compared to my 53, so obviously Trey and Nate Sutfield, Trent, Jake Brendel, Spencer Bruford. I have Daniel Brunskill as basically the sixth man. Colton McKivitz, who everything I've heard has actually showed up really well at camp.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good camp.
And Nick Zakel. I don't see them cutting him. Mike McGlinchey. Receiver
Justin School is
Debo
still going to be the odd man out.
I do too. I don't. And everything that I've heard, he just really hasn't had a solid camp.
And Croft is backing up Kittle, not Dwelly.
I still think Dwelly makes the team. Oh,
I think he does, especially until Warner's ready.
Yeah. Then I think you got to make some.
Then that's when the decision comes.
Yeah, that's when you got to make some decisions. So let me see. Receiver Debo, Danny Gray, Juwan Jennings, Ray McLeod, Brendan Ayuk. That's where I was able to sneak the 12 D linemen, is I just kept 5 receivers. And obviously,
which 5 did you say? Who was your 5th?
I got Danny Gray, basically. Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, and Juwan Jennings are the non-starters.
Yeah, I think that.
I would, just because they're going to keep Danny Gray showed up well enough in camp to earn a roster spot. They're going to keep Ray McLeod. And Juwan, even though he hasn't had the world's best camp, I think Shanahan sees a lot of KD.
He shows up in games.
Yeah, he shows up in games, and Shanahan is going to say, "Hey, I'd rather see somebody who I know is doing it in games than somebody who I've never seen do it in the game." Especially how much he disrespects the preseason. Running backs: Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, TDP, and Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's looked nice to me in camp. Today, TDP had a nice run or two, but I remember last Tuesday, it seemed like anytime I saw a nice run, it was Trey Sermon who was making it. And I haven't heard anything contrary.
Was he running with the 1s or the 2s, though? When he was doing
I think
those?
it was 2s. But Jeff Wilson Jr.
I'm still surprised that Wilson's so high. I figured with TDP and Sermon in there, I figured he would be the 4th. Maybe even Jordan Mason.
He's everything that I've heard is he's been the second best back in camp. Jeff Wilson.
I'm saying, like, from what we thought that infusion of youth as a running back would push him, and it'd be him and Hasty that got pushed out. But
Juice, I got Ross Boston, Tyler Croft making it with Kittle, obviously. That I think that's pretty much a lock. I would be highly surprised.
But yeah, like I said, it'd be
Um,
surprised. We'll see what happens when Warner comes back and he's ready to go,
mhm, mhm.
because that's when we'll start making decisions on that.
One I know that I had on before when we did our report day show that I took off is Jalen Moore, and that's just because he hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
You know, you can't make the club in the tub, right?
Yep.
And so I'd be interested. Maybe they put him on some list or something like that. You know, injuries to whatever. But yeah, I
Pop
just
him on because the IR is still the same as last year, but I think you can only
yeah.
go on there once. I think it's I forget exactly how
And
it was changed, but
Pup, and this is important. I didn't know this, and because this is flew under the radar, as far as I've heard. Pup has been changed to 6 to 4 games, so you can come
Yeah.
back after 4 games this year.
Which
That's huge.
they should have
'Cause
done
that's a
this
month.
years ago. Yeah.
That's a month.
Some
That's
I don't
it. That's
understand.
the
It
team
sucks that
better.
it's taken COVID for them to finally implement some sort of a change
Especially-
to PUP, IR, and all that kind of shit. It's like, really, it took this to finally open your eyes to how this should work?
Especially considering that back when it was 16, you're asking somebody to miss damn near half a season.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
for
not the
something that
entire
might
season
be.
because the way it worked, depending on how you got on there.
Yeah. It's just it's a lot of things that I feel that really hurts. Is going to hurt your product because nobody cares if it's a no-name player, but if it's a superstar, you know, because the NFL doesn't survive off of the NFL survives off of people like us. The NFL got as big as it did that your casual football fan who says, "Hey, I'm not going to watch the Packers or I'm not going to watch, you know, Fox's game of the week because Aaron Rodgers isn't in."
Oops.
Because people know, bro, if you could watch the 2016 40 every game of the 2016 49ers, you can watch anything. You know what I'm saying? And I went to majority of the home games that year. So that really tells you something.
I did a lot of drinking that year.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of alcohol in my house for that year.
That was a rough year.
Yeah.
I literally just remember I was telling my girl about it the other day. And I was like, I just never had that feeling in my life that, you know, I was there that first game when we beat the Yams 28-0. I was there. And then not having another victory until Christmas.
Shit was depressing, man.
Like I can't wrap my head around that. Like that just blows my mind right now. Just like
you live there. Imagine living up here in Seattle,
Of
man.
course,
You know,
of course.
shit was they're doing good. I'm just like, man, this shit.
See,
sucks.
this is the thing about it is, and this is all over the bay because you know everybody moves, especially a lot of people don't understand. Oakland and San Francisco are only 8 miles apart. The Bay Bridge, that's all it is. So it's just the other side of the Bay Bridge. So you know you cross the bridge and you're all of a sudden in Oakland.
Not like you're
or
going
San
across the
Francisco.
state.
Yeah, it's extremely close. There is the city of San Jose, the city I live in, is more square mileage than the distance between Oakland and San Francisco. So if I were to go to basically, let's say, the south side to the north side, that's more distance than going from Oakland to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks, oh, you're out here, you're safe. Nah, bro, we get it from Raider fans.
Yeah.
And San Ho and Frisco and San Ho have more Sheacock fans than you would think, just because of all the tech.
Yeah,
You know,
there's a whole
people going back and forth and everything. Matter of fact, one of my coolest customers at Lenardi's was a Sheacock fan. He would come in and get a sandwich every Monday and come holler at me and everything. And yeah, he was actually quite merciful when we, you know, lost to them last year. Anyway,
my friends ain't merciful, man, because I give it just as bad.
So he was a cool dude. I think also he was like, I think it was one of those, bro, like you don't want this smoke because like I know my shit You feel me? So we can talk about the history of our teams, and I'll make you feel ridiculous on really like cool. Congratulations, you won one game, bro. Like, let's not get into whose franchise is better. Anyway, so we'll take that off for a second. So anyway, so yeah, that was a big shock. Okay, so the 12, I'll save the D lineman for last. Linebackers, the big three: Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw, Aziz Al-Shire, Orden Banks, Marcelio McCray Ball, who was somebody I didn't think would make the roster. I had Demetrius.
I've heard they like him.
I'm
I've heard
sorry.
they like him. I've heard they like him.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard he's liked him. He's made quite a few turnovers in camp. He's somebody that like I had Demetrius Finnegan fouls. It was just very, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But he's apparently made enough noise to replace somebody that's been on the roster.
There are rumors for it.
Yeah, so I don't think it's ridiculous. Corners, Travarius Ward, Sammy Womack, who I've heard not quite there yet, but showed enough potential to earn a roster spot.
This is still showing Denard is still on the starter.
Mm-hmm. I have him. Ambry Thomas, who I've heard has not had a great camp. Both from what I've seen, it just seems like from my memory, I was looking like, oh, who gave up that catch? Oh, number 20. Oh, who this? Oh, it's number 20. Quatrez Knight, just because Diamador Lenore, Emmanuel Mosley are the corners. Jimmy Ward, Tavarius Moore, who I think showed up in this camp. Obviously Huff and George Odom, who I would not be surprised if did not make the roster because I remember Sunday, they the first thing they had us practice we saw was special team period, and he literally could not catch. They were shooting it first out of the jug. They were shooting it out of the jug machine. Literally every time he went to catch the ball, it was a muff. Like I literally don't think about one of them.
For what they have on here for this quote unquote unofficial one, they've obviously got Mosley and Ward starting, and they've got Thomas and Dante, which I'm a little surprised. I haven't heard much out of Dante in this, so they've got them two, and then it goes to Lenore and Holman. And then you got Castro Fields way off in the back. I'm like, what the hell is going? Like this is stuff that I hadn't quite heard yet. And
this had a great camp.
Yeah, and take us all with a grain of salt. This is just what they put out just for today, kind of a thing. So, and like we said earlier, I think they might just be fucking with people, putting stuff on there to kind of, play mind games with everybody.
But yeah, so I have let me see. Safeties specialists are pretty obvious. We only literally have 3 specialists on the roster.
Yeah. Unless you want to count the returners.
Yeah.
Which pretty much makes 4 because that's pretty much going to be Ray McLeod for everybody, for every position. So.
And okay, so this is not separated between DNs and D tackles. I'm just kind of listing. Eric Armstead. So I'll list the starters first. Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. I put Gary Hyder Jr. I believe they have Samson Ebukam on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. I have him making the roster anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then so Nick Bosa, Gary Hyder Jr., Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead I have as our starters. Samson Ebukam, Drake Jackson, Kevin Atkins, Alex Barrett, who I've heard a lot of things about Alex Barrett during camp. Kevin Givens, Charles Omenihu, Kamoko Toure, and Jordan Willis. I don't think...
Okay, so what's on the list? They've got Samson, Kinlaw, Armstead, and Bosa.
No.
They got Jackson, Givens, Ridgeway, and Omenihu. And then to round out the 12, it'd be Hyder, Spence, the Kim Dinchey. I'm never going to be able to spell that man's name right. I'm so sorry. And then Jordan Willis. And we were both kind of high on Kevin Atkins, and he's way back there.
Yeah, that I haven't making the roster, and I haven't seen anything to to make it seem like he's not earned a spot. Tomoko Toure, Tomoko Toure, I actually haven't heard of anything, and I haven't seen anything, but that's just somebody that I think like that's pedigree. That's somebody that you keep around just because you're going to keep so many. And, you know, he's not going to make it to practice squad. And it's very clear we're going to lose. We're going to lose players this year. And if they have Dante making the roster, that's my thing about it is I just assumed he wouldn't make the roster and they would just keep him on practice squad and bring him up and down.
Bring him up as needed like they've done for years.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't even have him making the roster.
But I wouldn't know. I'm kind of surprised that they put him up at number 2.
Yeah, that's over Ambry.
Well, when you think about it, if you want someone that's veteran that knows the system compared to anybody else, he's honestly the best option. You know, take away athletic ability and stuff like that. If you just want someone to just know.
I have no problem because he spoke today. He was one of the players that spoke today, and I have no problem him being up on game day.
No. I don't.
I have no problem with that. Just because, yeah, okay, if you're gonna get to whatever corner he is on the depth chart, I mean, I'd rather just go with the veteran that's like, hey, at least I know you know what you're doing out there.
Yeah.
You know, so at least I know you know the defense. At least I know you're gonna be in the right spot. And like you always say, we can scheme around what we know.
That's why. What's his name? Adams.
Yeah. Well, that's why you point to me. That's why you point to D'Amico and say, okay, hey, you want to be a head coach? Well, this is how you figure it out. Ultimately, what I think what got Robert Saleh hired, I think 2019 put him on the map. I think what got Robert Saleh hired was 2020.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
you saw what he did with limited.
Yeah, what do you do without Nick Bosa? Hey, anybody could have coordinated that 2019 defense. Very easy.
Yep.
Go after the quarterback. Like very simple. Sherm, you do what you do. Everybody else pretty much get after the
Bosa attack.
Yeah. Bosa and forward attack. And Defoe just fuck shit up. Just make shit a mess. I'm really excited to see what Eric Armstead. Just thinking about that, I'm really excited to see what the potential of Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw can be. If they can be, because Eric Armstead is finally inside where he should have been. And if
Could you imagine if we had Defoe and Armstead inside for those few years, man? It's like, why was he outside to this? Anyways, I think we missed like.
I did too.
A couple of years of just straight dominance inside by playing that game by putting Armstead outside. I really do.
I mean, in 2019, you at least have an argument of, hey, D Ford ain't a run blocker.
Yeah.
So who are we going to put out there that's better than Eric Armstead at end? Nobody. Not on the 2019 roster.
Yeah, I'd have picked somebody else. But he didn't even start outside. I mean, or inside. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, well, no, he went inside on third downs. So you put him. So I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. But at least in 2019, you could say, okay, well, clearly D Ford is a better pass rusher. So you bring, but D Ford's a liability in run coverage, which is fine. We didn't bring him on to run defend. So Eric Armstead's our best run defending end, and then you kick him on inside. 2020, your guess is as good as mine, and 2021 until what was it? Week 8, week 9, whatever week it was. Fine, but so my overall feeling of camp has always been it's. I feel the same way about this team. I think that we're a team that's going to be ascending, and if we want a legit shot at any type of talk of any type of championship, because do I think that we'll be playing championship caliber playoff football by the time the playoffs come? Yeah, I do. And I have 2019 and 2021 and 2018, 19, 20, and 21 to back that up. To say, hey, look, you look at our record under Shanahan over the second half of the season, it's way better.
It's a slow start. He's a slow starter.
Yeah. So my fear, and the only thing I think that can hold us back, is either Trey making, the backbreaking mistake, and that could be at any point in time, or for some reason the defense isn't as good as we are. Trey's that bad. It's something that holds us back earlier in the year, where it's, hey,
we dig too much of a hole.
Yeah, we're 3-5 again. You can't expect a football team to dig themselves out of a 3-5 hole again.
Yeah, and end up,
not without a bet at the minimum. I don't think, no matter what anybody says, Trey Lance could have not done what Jimmy Garoppolo did last year. I don't think he could have dug us out of 3-5.
That's
his rookie year.
I mean,
his rookie year. No.
But you also have to look at some of the things he can do versus what Jimmy can do. So
true.
So I mean, that was, and I understand what you're saying. I think what Jimmy did more than anything else is that he helped, and people will disagree with it. Jimmy's best attribute is Jimmy's a damn good leader.
Yeah.
Take away the football player, look at how he is as a leader.
Yeah.
There hasn't been anybody that good around here. Say what?
You want to run through a brick wall for him.
Yeah, exactly. And while I think Trey has the ability to get there, I don't think he's quite there yet.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Jimmy, he earned it after a while. Trey, this is going to be Trey's year. Maybe next year he takes that Jimmy style of leadership. But
he
he's got to get into it. Yeah,
he hasn't proven it. I mean, that's look. It's all good whenever you showed him practice and you showed against Houston and everything like that. And then and ultimately, what you just said is why I have belief that we can stay afloat until Trey can figure it out. We can Shanahan can adjust, make the adjustments that he may need to. Hey, we can scrap this play. Okay, this worked last year. It's clearly not. Teams practiced all year to stop it. The Debo handoff or whatever. Jimmy was hurt going in the game against the Texans, got hurt, and still played the next week. Yeah, I mean, because Jimmy's a savage, but I think that.
But I have seen clips of Trey to where like Jimmy was really good at getting people going, like in practices between, especially when things were kind of lackadaisical and stuff like that. And I've seen clips where you see Trey trying to do those type of things to where he's out there high-fiving people, giving them attaboys, getting them, trying to get them pumped up. That's the kind of stuff you want to see for him to go get as he gets better.
I think it's the on the field stuff I'm worried about with Trey. It's not leadership or anything like that, because that's well vetted. That stuff's the character, all those type of things are well vetted by this franchise. And considering, I mean, go back. What besides Reuben Foster and Tremaine Brock, what have you really heard about this football team as far as getting?
Who was the fullback that we dropped?
Bruce Miller.
Yeah,
Bruce Miller. Okay, so it was Bruce Miller, Reuben Foster.
He's trying to make a comeback this year.
Really? Ray Armstrong. Because there was that was in him and Reuben Foster. It was Ray Armstrong and Reuben.
I think he had a tryout with the Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, but apparently they were interested. So, which were the first year which Lynch came out and admitted, I thought I could fix him. And I didn't realize, hey, I'm not his teammate. I'm his general manager. I'm his boss. I'm just not going to have the type of relationship that I need to have with him. And he learned, and he admitted that. But I mean, this team, clearly what they've done as far as character, people who love football, things like that, is clearly working. So I'm not worried that Trey's not pumping up his teammates. I'm not worried. One of the most encouraging thing Trey usually does stay after. Another encouraging thing, Huff was the first player on the field every day I was at practice.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen that.
There's clearly the character of this football is not what worries me. No. It's just the learning curve. You know, when are your first year starter mistakes going to come? And they're going to come at crippling times in crippling areas of the field that are just going to prevent us from winning games. Like,
Yeah.
you just
Are we
can't
going to
win it.
be on the 35-yard line, throw a touchdown or throw an interception for a pick
Yeah,
six
pick
or something?
six.
You know,
That just
in a
things that
tight
you're
game.
like, well, you just can't overcome this consistently week after week after week after week after week, and become a winning football team.
Pacing is going to be a big thing for me. We'll see how the pace moves, especially if we go to like a no huddle type. Because Jimmy was pretty good in the no huddle, so we'll see how the pace
Jimmy
goes.
preferred
Especially
to but Jimmy preferred to operate in the shotgun.
Yeah, he did.
So I think that it's, well, I mean, I honestly think it's gonna be an exciting offense. I just think it's gonna be just very what you see. I don't think there's gonna be much. I think what's you're you're gonna see, the reason why we drafted Trey is the plays where you look and you're like, you're just like, oh shit, because you just been watching Jimmy would have took a sack, and all of a sudden Trey doesn't take a sack, and he's able to keep his eyes downfield. And that player that it's like, damn, if Jimmy would have a half a second longer, he could have got it to Juice in the flatter or Debo or whoever. Trey's gonna make
or just
those
take
plays.
it and run,
or just take it and run. But I'm saying that's gonna be Trey's first instinct. And saying, hey, I'm gonna keep my eyes. Look at the touchdown to Debo.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so that's the only thing I think that we're truly going to see different. And that play wasn't even that. It wasn't like that was a play that we didn't run with Jimmy.
No.
It just got shut down. Would have been a sack, or Jimmy would have thrown the ball away or checked it down or whatever.
Because everybody started running at Jimmy because they didn't care about his arm.
Yeah. So, it's not going to be as far as the fundamental of the offense, or all of a sudden we're going to run the zone read every other play or anything like that. I think it's going to be very similar. It's just going to be the execution of the offense that's going to be different. And what I'm worried about is, and I'm pretty sure Shanahan's worried about too, is when everything breaks down, or you have that oh shit moment, or what am I supposed to do now, or they throw you a different look, what's your instinct? Because I think that if everything's fine, pocket clean, or whatever, or even just simple operation of football, I think Trey will be fine in there.
Yeah.
But what happens when they bust it? It's like that San Diego game where Kyle basically said no, Derwin James on that fourth down, blitz from one side, and they had never run that blitz. So when that happens, what does Trey do? When what did Mike Tyson used to say? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
So what happens to that? I think that's when I think we might get some oh shit moments, or some fucking Trey moments, or whatever your choice curse words are. But the execution of the offense, especially like you said, the pacing, the rhythm, hey, we're in the flow, and it's very 2-minute drill and things of that nature.
Yep.
I think we'll be fine in that. When everything can be on schedule and very executed and controlled, yeah, I have no problem that Trey can run that, because that's football. That's if he couldn't do that, he wouldn't have been drafted. If he couldn't do that, I don't even think he would have played in college.
Well, no, but he did run a similar offense. That's part of the,
Which is ultimately one of the reasons why I think we chose him over Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Which is okay if you're saying, hey, yeah, he only played 17 games in college, but we're running of the fact that those 17 games were basically
Justin Fields
in our
has looked
offense.
like trash in camp currently. Yeah. I look, my boy that died last year. My brother and shit like that. Huge Bears fan. So I still have an attachment to the Bears, so I still watch all their shit. You know what I mean? Just because. Like, when we play the Bears week 1, it's going to be a little bittersweet for me.
Yeah, I
Because
remember
that would have been a big thing for me and him this year. That with him not being here, we don't get the experience. So I will be a little bittersweet no matter what for that game. Yeah,
No, I
supposedly
totally
he said a pretty trash game. Okay.
I understand how you feel about that, bro. My brother was my little brother that died was a Chargers fan, and literally, I think it was 2 days after he died, we played the Chargers
Ooh, that was even rough.
in the preseason. Yeah, it was in the preseason. Like, I mean, he wasn't like a huge diehard Charger fan or whatever. It was just
That's
more
still
like,
that's still who he wrote it for.
but yeah, like if you asked him, hey, who's your team, he would say the Chargers. And so I remember we lost that game. And I remember that's probably the only time in my life I really didn't give a fuck the Niners lost.
Yeah, like
should
we lose that game, I don't think I'd be as angry as I normally would be, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's life is real, and we love football, and football is life and everything like that. But I mean,
yeah,
it's definitely when you speak about the death of a person, is generally like people ask me, like my best friend Sid that died, and everybody asks me, "Do you get sad or anything?" I said, like, no, I'm fine. I said it's just random, and the finality of it. The finality of, hey, no matter what, like I'm never gonna see him. Like I'm a group home kid. I'm used to people coming in and out of my life all the time. I'm used to not seeing people for years. But I mean, I bumped into people that I hadn't seen in years. I worked with one of my childhood friends I lost contact with when I went to the group home. Randomly ended up working with her at Old Navy one time, just on some random shit. So like shit like that happens, but the finale, like the idea of no matter what, shit like that will never happen. There's just not a chance of it happening. That's what fucks me up. But
so
I think
speaking of emotional games, check this out. So obviously, I'm going to be hyped for our week 1 game. I'm not going to lie, I might actually be looking more forward to seeing what happens with Russell Wilson comes back to Seattle, just because that's going to be such a big thing on Sunday Night Football, man. Especially because I'm up here, I want to see how my friends act up here and everything. It's so back and forth already. Like it's already being pumped up here. So,
of course, I mean, that
I feel like Joe coming back with the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. You know what I mean?
We did play it. It was obviously in Kansas City. Really,
I
would have to go back and see like if the NFL schedule was already out that year or whatever like that.
Oh, see if it's predetermined or did they change everything up?
If there was a way that they could have had that game at Candlestick, I've never understood why the fuck they didn't.
Nah. This is like going to be like, to me, that's going to be probably one of the biggest games in years, just because they're not waiting until the end of the season, mid-season. Yeah. You're not getting your feet wet. This is game 1, Sunday Night Football. Go at it. We're not going to let you rest to get used to anything. Nope. Jump in the deep end, sink or swim right now.
I mean, the first and the emotion, like it's just.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Like I said,
look, the NFL does. We talk a lot of shit about, oh, they should do this, they should do this. Like they're a multi-billion-dollar organization. Or business. They clearly know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So they're smart and I mean they have me hooked for life. But
oh yeah.
So go ahead, bro.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm hooked too.
Yeah, so they got me hooked for life. So they obviously know what they're doing. All right, y'all. So we'll go ahead and get up out of here. Next week, we'll go ahead and Brian won't be able to do the post-game show, and I will be at the girlfriend's grandma's, so I won't have the mic or computer or anything. So we'll go ahead and we'll break down the preseason game.
I'll be streaming Friday night.
Okay, Jason will be streaming Friday night. I might do a real quick video walking out of Levi's because I'll be there. So, me three.
Where you going?
All right, brother. Well, I'm assuming the game. You gotta come find me, bro. I might doing something. Might do something from Levi's, but we will definitely break it down on Tuesday's show. Next week, we'll get into how Trey looked, however long he played. Pretty sure there will be some storylines coming out. There always is.
I'm waiting to see the overreactions. I'm waiting for it.
The
Good
market,
and bad. There's gonna be a ton. Whichever way it goes, there's gonna be a ton of overreaction.
what was it? Michael Rush. It was somebody Rush. I remember.
Oh,
when
49ers rush, John Chapman.
No. It was this last dude's name was Rush.
Oh,
And I remember
okay.
he led the Niners in sacks 1 year in the preseason. And like
Oh,
then he got cut.
He's next Charles Haley.
Yeah, and like I just remember.
I love preseason. I love preseason All Pros. They're great.
You know what though? Honestly, I will stand up for because I believe it's a year we didn't have shit at pass rush. So it's like, well, I mean, fuck.
Screw it. They got nothing else
Yeah.
to cheer for.
I mean, like, damn. But anyway, all right, Jason. Any final words?
No, like I said, this Friday I will be streaming. I will actually be single that day because obviously we're going against the Packers and the wife is a Packer. So a Chiefs head. So hit me up, ladies. I'll be single that night. But yeah, I'll be streaming over on my YouTube channel. I think I figured out how to get it to where I can stream to everything at once. So I'm gonna try and stream to my YouTube channel, my Twitch, and I think I can get both the Niner Faithful ones all at the same time. I got to figure it out, but I think I have to test it. But I think I figured it out so we can get it all at one time.
All right. Well, if we could do that, then holler at me and we'll be changing some things and doing some things.
Yeah.
That'll make some stuff a lot easier. So all right, yeah. So holler at me, let me know.
I'll let you.
And then there was also something else. I forget. Anyway, all right, y'all. All right, Jason. I'll hide you, bro. And like I said, let me know about that.
Yep.
Dude.
Peace, love, and hair grease, everybody.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Before we get out of here, we're gonna go ahead and remind everybody to help out Niner Faithful Radio by using our shop49ers.com affiliate link and save 10%. All you have to do is click on the link in the description of the video or podcast. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out this show. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, and follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and at Niner Faithful R on Twitter. And as promised, thank you for tuning in to the end of the show. As promised, this week's discount code for 10% off of all season 2 for the Faithful by the Faithful apparel is season 2. 10% excludes any on sale items and cannot be used with any coupon code. Code expires August 30th at midnight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We shall see y'all Friday for Niner Faithful Radio pregame. I will be doing that. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
See ya.